I was 3 at the time, yeah. But he came back, and by then he'd married and had 2 other children. And he went on to have something like 5 others in Dominica, but we never lived in the same house. I lived with my mother first, and then my grandmother. And my grandmother is the matriarch of the family, was the matriarch of the family. You know, the strong woman. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the beginning of Tom.
Sounds like a very interesting beginning.
Yeah.
Dominica.
Dominica, yeah.
Is it a nice place to live?
Oh, beautiful island. Actually, it's called the Cinderella of the West Indies because it is very mountainous, very green, but it hasn't got the beaches, so therefore it doesn't attract the tourists as much as the other islands, although Dominica is now known as the nature island of the Caribbean. So if somebody's interested in walking and seeing the fauna, they go to Dominica to see it. There's a boiling lake. It is the 2nd largest boiling lake, I think, in the world. And it boils continuously. In other words, it most probably is a live volcano. But it hasn't erupted in my lifetime. Yeah. And because of that, there are hot water springs, hot water falls, and in Dominica.
Wow, seems like a really nice place.
It is.
What brought you to Swindon then?
What brought me to Swindon? My family all travelled. As I told you, my father was in New York. And my grandmother left Dominica when she was 18 and went to Brazil. And Brazil is in South America. South America covers all this. And Brazil is here. She travelled from Dominica to Brazil on her own and worked there for a couple of years. But that was before the 1918 war.
Okay.
And while she was there, the Germans were moving to Brazil, and Brazil is Portuguese. And she felt she didn't want to be caught on the wrong side of the war, because there was a lot about the possibility of war during that period. And she left and went up to New York, and lived in New York for quite some time before coming back to Dominica.
Fair enough. A lot of travelling to do.
And my mother left Dominica when I was 9 because she got married to a widow with a whole lot of kids, and she went with her husband to Curacao, and Curacao is here. And she lived there. That's where she died, actually. She lived there the remainder of the time. She left when I was 9. But she'd come home every 4 years for a couple of months. Yeah.
So you'd serve for a long period of time with a fair bit of space.
Yeah.
Look, when you're asking questions, just ask a little bit louder if you can, and it'll make it easier to edit it together. That's why I was going, wee!
Okay, we'll do. So how long were you in Dominica for, and how old were you when you moved away?
I came to England when I was 23.
Okay.
And I came to England to join the RAF because I wasn't satisfied with what I saw my future was in Dominica, you know, just joining the civil service, because I worked in the civil service for a couple of years before I came to England. I wasn't satisfied with that life. I felt I wanted to see the world, because everybody around me had seen a good part of the world. I wanted to get my share. I wanted to see my bit of the world. So I came to England and joined the RAF.
Was the RAF a good career choice? Or?
It was for me because, as I told you, my ambition was to see the world, and I did a lot of travelling while I was in the RAF. I did 2 years in Aden, which is now South Yemen, and I did 2 years out in Singapore. Singapore being, in the Pacific.
Yep.
So I did see a lot of the world coming from the Caribbean, coming to England, going across to Aden, which is Arabia, from Arabia, coming back to England and then going out to Singapore. So I did see a good proportion of the world. Although round the equator, always